What's up? Alex from LearnVisualFast.com here. A little while ago I made a review on the new FIVB Mikasa BV550C ball. In this review I said some things, and I think it's time for an update because now I've been able to play with this ball for a little while, and it has worn in a little bit, and I know more now. Okay, the sun is setting soon, so I will take this one detail first where we need some light to try to see what's going on. So basically the biggest complaint I had in the review I made about this ball was the material of the ball. And it's like plasticness and slipperiness, and I just said that it's not nice to engage with, basically. I'm happy to say that once this ball gets worn in, it gets better, quite a lot better. This is a ball I've never used, and this is a ball I've used, and I don't know if you will be able to see anything on the video. Let's play around with the focus a little bit, maybe that will help. This one is the new one, this one is the old one, but maybe this is quite telling. So when I was preparing for this video, I took all my balls, and I can palm a ball easily. I just grab it and lift it up, and I was able to do this with all these balls except this one, the unused Mikasa BV550. Now there's some humidity on my fingers, so I can palm it, but like when my fingers were dry, it was just like, and it's like, oh, okay, here's this new ball. But anyway, when it gets worn in, it becomes more like other volleyballs. So here's a comparison of the worn in BV550C and a brand new VLC 300 it's called. And I would say these are about the same grippiness. They still have a different feel to each other, but they have the same grippiness, I would say. So I'm happy to say that, at least for us normal players that will usually not have brand new balls to play with, this ball is not as bad as I thought it would be. I do feel sorry for the pros a little bit if they're gonna play all the events with brand new balls, because this ball is not super fun when it's brand new. But that's, I guess, their problem. Second topic I wanted to talk about, which I've seen some people post pictures of, is that the ball seems not entirely round. Usually it's from this angle people look at it when they come to the conclusion that this looks a little bit like an egg shape. Here's again the one I've used a little bit, and I still sort of think it looks a bit weird, but I think it might have gotten a bit rounder. I actually don't know. I'm gonna sort of pass on that to give a strong opinion. I can't notice when I play with this ball that it would be like not round or act weirdly in some way like that, so I don't think it's a huge thing to focus on, at least. So what about Floatserves? Do the dimples change the Floatserves or not? In my first video I said I think it doesn't float less, but maybe in an easier way. I think I'm pretty much in that opinion still. It is possible to make this thing float pretty much like the old Mikasa, like a crazy ass last millisecond float that becomes very tough to pass. It is possible to make those serves happen with this one also, but it might be slightly more difficult to make it happen. So you can make this guy, the Wilsons are known to float less than the Mikasas. You can make these float a lot also, and not too surprisingly I would rank them in this order. So here's the most difficult to float, middle, and most easy. But they're all possible to float. They're all possible to make really tough Floatserves. I hope this is insightful for you guys. There is one more aspect about this ball that I want to talk about that I did not talk about in the first video that I made, which is it's actually several aspects, but I think they all come from one thing. So when you look at this ball, you can see that around the valve that the actual layer that is around the inner bladder seems to be thicker than in the old balls. So logically, if the balls are the same size but the outer layer is thicker, that means that the bladder has to be smaller. I think this has some implications. I also think that the Mikasa indoor balls might be built with a thicker layer than the old beach volleyball balls and also the Wilson. But this one has some thickness, and mostly, well, one thing that it changes is the sound. It has more like a, I don't know, like a snappy sound, whereas this is more like a thump, and this is just like tsh. But another thing that I think it changes is that I think the bladder has weight in it. So this is actually, I'm guessing here, but I think it works this way. The bladder has weight, and since in this one the bladder is closer to the center of the ball, since it's smaller rather than bigger, it has less momentum in it, which makes me believe that this ball doesn't dive as much on a topspin serve than maybe people would expect it to do because of the dimples. So according to me, when someone really topspins a Wilson, it dives super fast. And the old Mikasa doesn't really do that. It floats a lot instead. And so when this one floats less than the old Mikasa, one could expect it to also dive more on topspin serves. I think maybe it does a little bit, but not to the extent that I would expect it to do. Okay, I hope that makes some sense. That was my little update on the BV550C ball. A little bit stressed with the recording because of the setting sun, but I hope that everything was clear enough and that you understood what I mean. You can always use the comment section below if there's any questions that you have. But all in all, this ball, I still think it's a bit of a disappointment. I still think that it's not really an upgrade from the old ball, but it's not as bad as I thought at first. I will later make a video of what I think the perfect beach volleyball would be like, because this process has made me get some ideas, but that will be for another video. Anyway, I'm Alex from learnbeachvolleyballfast.com. If you're not familiar with me and you just saw this video, I normally make beach volleyball tutorials that kind of go in depth into this sport. A lot of people like them. You should check them out also if you care about getting better at this sport. But other than that, that was about it for this time. I still don't think these balls are available for sale, really, like in a reliable way. I've seen some people all over the world be able to get a hold of a few, but like, I don't know. We'll see when it gets to the point that people can actually buy these as much as they want.